Hi, this is John Anderson. You're watching CMS TV.
It is your classic metal show right here on the classicmetalshow.com. That is Metal Church with Metal Church. And kicking off the show tonight, we heard Testament with Practice What You Preach, and a guy who is no hypocrite and practices what he preaches. My good friend and former theology major, my good friend and partner, Chris Akin. What's going on there, Chris?
Bless you, my friend. How are you?
I always have to come up with something clever to introduce you every
No, you don't. You just say, here's that fat bastard with the big mouth. Here he is again.
Yeah. You need to boost your audio just a hair.
Really?
Yeah, just a little low in the mix.
Well, I don't know how much I can boost it. I just turned it way up. But
did you?
How's that? Is that better?
A little better.
Well, this is maxed. That's as loud as I can possibly turn it.
Well, I can turn you up on this end, but usually I never have to touch anything. So you usually come in pretty strong.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I was at my normal level, but whatever. Right. Fuck it. We're not going to do this again. How we doing, peeps?
I just boosted your gain just a little on my end, so that's all right.
All good.
Yeah. So, we're back again on a Saturday.
Yes, we are.
Yeah. Did you hook up with your friend Eric today?
Nope.
You did not hook up.
I did not. No.
Oh, what the hell?
I hooked Seth up. Seth's out at the show. Seth is out at the show. No, me and Eric tried to make it work, but he got dicked around at sound check or whatever, and something happened that the timing wasn't good for the sound check, and then by the time he was done, I was going to sleep, so just didn't happen.
Huh.
So we communicated. As I said to him, he was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." He was like all apologetic. And as I said to him, I was like, "Gee, I don't know if I can wait all the way until Monday to see you."
Right. Right.
Whatever. It's fine.
Yeah, I know it's fine. I mean, it's always fun to hook up with Eric if you get a chance to meet up with him somewhere. But
I would have liked to go and have a dinner or something, or a lunch or something like that. But I knew I wasn't going to the show anyway, so
right.
Is what it is.
Well, when did they get into town? Today or yesterday?
Today.
Oh, they got in today.
Yeah, they came. I think they got in and went straight to the venue for sound check.
All right. Well, that kind of makes sense then.
Yeah, but then when they got there for sound check, they didn't have anything plugged in and blah blah. I got the whole story. I won't get into the whole.
Yeah, well, I know how it goes. But, trust me. I know how it goes.
Well, exactly how it goes is exactly why it happened the way it happened.
Right. Obviously, when I go out on the road with Akin and stuff, things don't always run smoothly, and a lot of times you're just pressed for time, and you got to get in and hurry up and stand around and wait, and all kinds of things. It just you get to these venues, and especially the Roxino, Hard Rock. Roxino, you would think that they'd be organized because they do this kind of shit almost daily.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't think there'd be like a teardown every night. You would think they'd have like a permanent backline and permanent mic, at least mic plugs and everything else plugged in, cables.
Right.
Nope. Is what it is, but that's all right. I mean, Lord knows we'll do our thing on Monday, and it'll be just fine.
Right. I get you. I mean, but still, I always enjoy when I get an opportunity to hang out with the Piercy crew, and, Eric's always a character, and hanging out with him and things. So, I know you were kind of looking forward to it in some regard.
I was, but at the same time, the Quiet Riot boys are there. I know they hate me. So it's like, maybe it wasn't such a bad deal not to get over there either. So whatever, I don't need to be fucking fighting with them either.
Right.
So,
I get you.
It's all good.
Yeah. Our good friend CMS Mikey, he was a little disappointed because he had put in to photograph the show and got turned down.
That happens.
It does happen. I mean, he's had a lot of good fortune to photograph some pretty iconic bands in the last year.
Sure.
I mean, he's photographed Foreigner and Casey and the Sunshine Band of all things, and who else did he? Obviously, Doc
Priest, I think, right?
He's done that. He's done Priest. So he's gotten his feet wet in the world of photography, and has had pretty good luck with being able to go to some pretty significant shows and take photos and things. So but he was just kind of looking forward to it, because he was I'm sure he's a fan of Rat and
sure,
and so on and so forth. But hey, shit happens.
Yeah, I mean I know he told me, and I was like, normally I would have just asked, I would have kind of thrown a text to Eric, but Eric every week on Chris Akin Presents rails about how much he hates getting ripped off by the photographers.
Well, how does that work? I mean, how do you get ripped off by the photographers? Aren't you just? I mean, where does the money come from? I mean, where would money come from being photographed? On a live setting.
Well, his stances are
okay
that one, they can sell the photos. Do they or don't they? Don't know.
Are they selling photos of Eric? Come on.
Well, that's kind of Eric's thing. This all started because Eric used a photo from that girl Kara. You know Kara?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He used one of her photos of himself. And she sent him an email saying, you need to give me credit and this and say that I was with you, like a whole thing of shit. Okay. And he got mad about it. And he was just like, I'm not getting paid for these fucking photos. I'm not giving you permission to take these photos. And
why is it so bad to give credit for a photo that you're using?
Well, because he didn't give permission to take it.
Well, but the thing is,
what if he doesn't like the photo?
Well, then don't use it.
But it's not up to him. It's up to the photographer. That's his problem.
I get that, but that's just part of the gig.
Well, I get that. You might want to have Eric on one night to explain that, because I went round and round with him about that, and
no pun intended.
Yeah, exactly. I partially agree with Eric, but I partially don't.
I get it, but I mean, who's making bank on Eric Ferentino's photos?
It's not necessary for him. It's not necessarily about making bank. It's about presenting Eric Ferentinos in a way he doesn't want to be presented, and he should have say in that if they're taking his photo.
Who was he, Kiss?
Well, he went into this pretty deep on Caps one night, and part of it for him is, what if they take a shitty picture and he's faced and he's not the only one. We have another friend that happens to play guitar that is really anal about his photos as well.
Okay.
And I don't know if you know who I'm talking about, but I'll put it in the private chat here.
I don't know who, right off the top of my head.
I'll put it in the private chat here.
Is it somebody local?
No.
Okay.
I just put it in the private chat.
Oh, really? I wasn't aware.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't aware of that.
When I did some work for him, he was like, you've got to take this photo down. Look at me. I look like I have two chins, and I don't look. It's the wrong pose.
I've heard him comment about that, but I've never heard him rail about, damn photographers.
Well, that guy has not, but he definitely, when I was working with him, was like, he had literally sent me over 20 photos. I picked one. He's like, don't use that one. Right, what are you doing?
That's a little bit different. That's not saying, but he's not going after the photographer and say, take that down immediately,
I think Eric he did not like being told what he has to do when he uses a picture of himself.
Well, I get
that.
But you give credit where credit is due.
And I get that.
As far as, hey, somebody took a really good picture of me.
And I said exactly the same thing to him.
And I have this photo now, and had that person not been in the audience and did a really nice job or captured me well, or
Yeah.
I feel it represents me as an artist or, performer or whatever.
Dude, we're literally redoing the Cap episode.
Again, I didn't hear the discussion, but what I'm saying is, why is it so? Because the reason it was an issue for him in that one case when it really became an issue was twofold. One, he didn't like the photo. That's the first piece. He didn't like the photo. And B, more to the fact, he did not like being told he was okay with the photo in question, but he didn't like other photos that she took. Okay.
So that was the first thing.
All right.
Second thing was he really didn't like being told how to present the photo of himself. He was like, I didn't give you permission to take my fucking picture, but you're telling me how I have to credit it. And I agree with him on that. The way that he was approached was really shitty. The way it should have been approached was, hey, would you mind?
Yeah, well, I mean, like if you see photos of celebrities in magazines or something, underneath it says Getty Images.
Mm-hmm, sure.
Something like that.
Yeah, and that's fine. And I mean, I've put up photos that I've taken before where I've had artists ask me to take them down, and I've had artists ask me to credit or photographers, whatever. Like, Joe Cleon took the picture of my Judas Priest cover, the picture that I have on my Judas Priest book cover.
Right.
And Joe had kind of a specific how he wanted to be credited.
Okay.
And I was fine with that because I was selling it more or less, I mean, I was selling his photos. So I was like, yeah, whatever you need, bro.
Okay.
But I had permission. I got permission from the photographer. And the photographer got permission from Judas Priest to use it for whatever they wanted to use it from.
Sure.
When somebody just blindly goes to a show and starts taking pictures, and I think that's part of it. Part of it, that could be part of it with Mikey. For all I know, Rat turned down all photo requests.
Yeah, well,
I don't know.
I don't know who was responsible. I'm just saying that, as far as like the opportunity is concerned.
Yeah.
He was disappointed, but regardless of that, I mean, you're not owed that privilege.
No, you're not. And I mean, I see both sides of the story here. And, I all I know is that when Mikey hit me up with it, I think it felt like it was the lean toward, hey, could you make a call for me?
Yeah.
And I just was kind of like, I would love to for Mikey. I love Mikey to death. But I know I just had this thing with Eric, and the last thing I want to do is say, "Hey, bro, let me get you to hook up a photographer."
Yeah, well, had you not had that interaction with Eric and had that discussion,
I would have instantly made the call.
Of course, right? But but you know how he feels about it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, yeah, well, I already know that there's kind of a raw, feeling about it. So I'm just there's no point in me broaching that subject with a friend that I already know his attitude toward it.
Mm-hmm. And I told him that. I told Mikey that directly. That's the stance.
Sure, I get it.
It's I said it could be one of the band's requests. I know Eric talks about his problems with photos all the time on Caps. So I told him.
I have a feeling that it might be a Piercy thing because his chick takes all the photos.
True.
That Christina Adair, she takes all the photos.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
and that could be it too. So
that
who
could
knows?
be it too. That she kind of has the exclusive, the exclusive on taking the live photos.
Yeah, and that could very well be it.
Because then Steven can pick and choose what wants out there and not out there.
Right.
And I get that too, because he is getting older and, he's got the wear and tear, and maybe some of the photos aren't so flattering because he is a little bit raggedy now.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of it with all those guys. They're all older. There's no 20-year-olds in the Stephen Piercy band.
Sure.
So, is what it is. I felt bad for Mikey, but at the same time, I was just like, well, I can't really.
Yeah, I get that.
I don't have an arm to twist in this one.
Right.
I can't. I certainly can't go to the Quiet Riot Boys. I I mean, I could have probably gone to Johnny Kelly. I had Johnny Kelly on the show this
Right.
week. Literally, he was on Caps this week, but
Sure.
apparently he doesn't know that I'm a dick. But you know, I sure couldn't reach out to Jizzy or Alex and ask them to
Right.
hook up a friend, and
Right.
I wasn't going to ask Eric, so that doesn't leave me a lot of options.
Yeah. Well, maybe another time. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Whatever. But
Yeah.
is what it is, man.
Well, speaking of hookups,
Yes.
I received this week,
Okay.
and so now the idea here is now how do we make this happen?
Yeah, I have not heard from Dave. He has not hit me back with
Nothing.
anything. So
You said, "Well, Dave, I'm taking your website down. Let me
I
see
ain't
if he
saying that. I'm not saying that.
Let's see if he responds."
No, I am not saying that. I'm
What do you
not.
mean you're taking my website down?
I will not be crossing what is arguably my best customer right
Really,
now.
that's your best customer?
Right now, I mean, he's definitely one of the most active customers I have right now.
All right, cool.
I'm constantly changing things up for him. So yeah, I won't be messing with that hookup.
Right.
Nope. I'll ask again. You know, now that the dust is kind of settled on the whole compound censored fiasco, and
Well, it wasn't really a fiasco, though.
yeah, it kind of was.
Why?
I've watched a bunch.
Well,
It's
here
not a
you go.
fiasco per se. It's just those guys,
Now, who are you talking about? Those?
the other shows on
Okay.
Compound, Gino or In Hot Water, and Garrett and Steve,
Christy Mayer, yeah.
Chrissy Mayer, etc.
Yeah.
They were paid a ridiculous amount of money,
Well, I know.
and
I
it
saw
started
Anthony-
coming out.
Yeah, I saw Anthony. He actually did a segment. I think it was like about 8 or 9 minutes long.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that?
I may have. I don't know. I've watched a zillion things with Kevin Brennan and with all those guys and everything.
Basically, without divulging numbers, do you have any numbers that
I do.
All right, well,
Garrett, who was the booth guy.
Yeah.
He did a show there. Him and that Steve Conti did a show together.
right. Mhm.
But primarily he was the booth guy. He was the booth guy for In Hot Water, and he appeared on In Hot Water a bunch, and he was the booth guy for Anthony, and he sat in for Ant when Ant was down with his heart attack and all that.
And he was, he's the production guy, and he
Yeah.
kind of runs the show.
$80,000.
Oh, that's a nice chunk of change.
It's a nice amount of money,
Mm-hmm.
more than he should have been making.
Right. But it is New York City, though.
Yeah, but still, $80,000 could have done that from home.
Well, true, but I think Anthony was trying to run it like a real professional, upscale
Yeah.
broadcasting,
He was, but
channel, and I think Anthony took his eye off the ball, as it were.
sure.
Because you and I talked about this numerous times, either in person between us or here on the show, that the reason that Compound wasn't as successful as it could have been was that Anthony was too partial to giving shows to just buddies
To buddies, yeah.
who weren't necessarily all that talented.
And it shows, you watch now and they're doing, coming off of that, like Gino Bisconti, he's doing like 1,100 views on his show. It's like, bro, you were on a network for 10 years. You're doing the same show, and now you're down to 1,100 people, and probably 1,100 is a high number because there's interest right now.
Right.
People want to hear him talking about getting kicked off the Compound Network.
Sure.
6 months from now, he ain't gonna be doing 1,100.
Well, did Gino get kicked off, or did he just he couldn't come to an agreement with Gavin? Because from what I understood, Chrissy Mayer and Gino were the ones that were kept, but they ended up getting.
Well, the way I watched some of Gino's nonsense too, and what he said was that he was offered 1/10 the money that he was making with Anthony.
Sure, but
And-
Anthony was being generous as a friend.
Yeah, and he was offered 70% of any new subs he would bring in, so they would get a code or whatever, and any subs that signed up with the code, he would get 70% of that. And he didn't want to do that because in his mind, and again, this is his mind.
Well, he took the Crowder stance.
Yeah, well, he took the stance of, well, I've already brought in those people, and those people were ported to from Compound. Why don't I get a percentage of that?
Because you have to grow your show and earn your spot here, or at least maintain your spot here, and make it worthwhile to have you here.
Well, I agree. And Gino stinks.
I know he does.
That show is awful. He's funny as a comedian. I did see him at the COVID from the Compound show that I went to when I got COVID. He was one of the guys, and he was damn funny. I will say he was really him and Aaron Berg and Anthony were the three funniest of the 9 people that they brought.
Right, but he's not doing a stand-up comedy act on the show.
No,
and comedians don't tend to do a good show. You know, if they're really good comedians, they don't have a tendency to do a program that's funny.
The biggest problem that I have, and I watched so much of this stuff over the last couple of weeks because I was interested in hearing what everybody had to say.
And I pick up little bits and pieces, and I see, commentary and things.
I'll tell you this. The way those guys are all doing shows sucks. The way these guys pander so hard for fucking super chats. It's unwatchable.
Yeah, I know, but this goes back to the talking metal guys. Shaking the pan constantly.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh man. Yeah. And that's all it boils down to. It's like, you're not doing a show for the love of doing the show. You're doing a show for the hope that somebody will throw you a few shekels.
It's ridiculous. It's like, basically they don't really want to do a show with their fans. Like we do, like here, I'll just post anything up, We'll just post stuff up as we see it. If I think it adds to the show, I generally post it up.
Right.
That's generally how we run. That being said, all of those shows, Gino, Kevin Brennan, Chrissy Mayer, all of those people, the only stuff that they're putting, 99% of the stuff that they're putting up is only if they've paid money, if it's a super chat.
Yeah.
And it's like, man. And then they stopped what they're talking about. So that we could be talking about this, me and you could be talking about this, and somebody would post a $10 super chat. Hey, what do you think of Motley Crue? And they'll stop.
Right.
They'll literally stop and they'll be like, oh, well, let's talk about that since you paid $10.
And so they never finish a subject.
It's just a disjointed, shitty product.
Well, again, it's not about the love of doing the shows. See, that's why I'm always proud of what you and I have done over the last 20 years. Is that we never did this for money. It never was. That was never something if we grow the show, we could make a bunch of money, and we never thought that, not even once, because we knew the reality of it. We knew the reality of the content of our show was never going to be a viable commercial thing because we knew that era was over. The Howard Stern, Opie, and Anthony era was over. That money thing for a commercially sponsored show like what we do, it's never going to be viable. And we just do it for the passion and the love of doing it. For us, it's just a way to cap off the week and just blow off some steam and just be silly or get something off of our chest or whatever the case may be. And just the fact that a few people tune in and listen every week, we're grateful for it. It's like, hey, thanks for tuning in, and maybe we say something relatable that you might like or dislike or disagree with, or heartily agree with, or if it breaks up your week too, we've done our job.
And I know, just on my side of it, as the one that is making money from the show, basically, as we've talked about with the locals page,
making money,
not really. No, I mean,
you're paying the bills, and paying for your time for doing what you
do. And I've said it before. If we're paying for my time, I'm making about a nickel an hour.
Just
always working.
Clear just to pull back the curtain a little bit. I let Chris keep everything that the show brings in. I don't take a dime. I give Chris every penny that comes into the show.
And kick in when the big bills come in. You did this week.
I did.
When the $400 and $500 bills come in, you throw some extra at it, and I use that money for the app and the hosting and the the various stuff that we have going on. And I'm always trying new stuff, and to try new stuff costs money. But that being said, we're not coming to the show going, okay, now you guys got to give us a super chat here.
Well, just tell them you just re-up the StreamYard for a year.
Yeah, another year, $468. It was a big bill. It was a big bite. And you chipped in, and Matt chipped in, and Seth chipped in. I'm chipping in. Everybody's chipping in to handle this bill, because it's a big one. And, we end of this year, we got to make a decision about CMS TV, because that's, what is that bill?
$1,200.
$1,200.
I paid that out of my pocket the last 2 years.
And that's like, do we get enough out of that? But we do it because we want to give everybody
the best experience.
Better. And by the best, I mean, when you look at anybody else, I don't care who you look at, Gas Digital, Podcast One, any of these networks, any of the biggest networks, none of them provide as much shit as we do. None of them. And I take pride in that. And I know you do too. It's really a labor of love to make it the best. And
that's always been the goal from the beginning.
Yeah.
From the beginning, before we got into the whole audio realm, my goal was always having good, solid audio.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Making it even between us, because we're 400 miles apart.
Right.
And it always made it sound like you were here, where I was there, vice versa, whatever it is. And people would always comment, how come I can't see Chris? How come I can't see
right.
Chris? It's like, well, because he's not here.
Yeah, because
you guys do that. How do you do that? We always got that question. How do you guys do that? It sounds like he's right there in the studio. Remember when Russ Dorff was here?
Oh yeah.
And he was here in my studio, performing live and things. And he goes, "Where's Chris? Where I can hear him? Where is he? Where does he at?" I said, "He's in Cleveland." How do you guys do that?
Yeah.
That's just fucking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And this was years ago.
It was.
Obviously the advances in audio and video have far surpassed that time. But even at that time, people were asking. That's just amazing. Can you show me how to do that?
Yeah, we had a lot of that.
Yeah.
Let's see here. What are the numbers in terms of who views everything that you provide? Well, I'll tell you this much. I don't have an exact number. I will tell you this. Last week's CMS did a little over 4,000 plays on Rumble, which is amazing. It did. Then you have the daily cuts, which do another 300 to 500 plays a day. So what's that? 4,000, 5,500 roughly on Rumble. Then we had probably another 1,000 or 2 on YouTube. Then we had another probably 6,000 to 8,000 views on Roku through the CMS TV. And then all the other shit, the Minds and Odyssey and
so it's around 25,000 a week.
Yeah, maybe a little less than that, but right in there. I mean, it's a good number.
25,000 a week in that ballpark.
It's all I'm saying. It's a good number for a show that has zero sponsorship, zero endorsement, nobody giving us the love. It's just us. You're right, Johnny. About 6 views on Odyssey. Good point.
Right.
Odyssey is such a weird thing because it's the best platform of them all. It really is. It's by far the best looking platform. It works the best, but no one wanted. We have 350 odd subscribers on Odyssey, and every video gets like 12 plays. It's so stupid.
Yeah.
And maybe it's because we don't promote it. I'd imagine if I used those videos instead of the Rumble videos on the dailies, then it would get more. But again, Rumble, part of it is, and I know we're going into a weird rabbit hole, but a lot of these extras things that I'm doing are not necessarily about getting views. they're about if Rumble ever changes their stance, everything is backed up somewhere else. So that if Rumble ever if Rumble gets bought out by YouTube, and I'm throwing a absolutely horrible scenario at us, but if Rumble ever got bought out by YouTube and YouTube immediately killed our channel, we could just that quick switch over to Odyssey or switch over to Minds or switch over to Playor or any of these other places, because I will not get fucked by these guys again. I just won't. I refuse to leave us open to being fucked that way twice. Which is why we have those other places, you know.
And again, this comes down to content, subject material, discussion, use of certain words.
Yeah.
Words.
And that's why I mean, ultimately, that's why I like having CMS TV. You know, I mean, we still kind of are a little careful sometimes. Like when we're talking about porn stuff, there's a lot of times I just want to pull up the porn video and put it on the screen. But I know it'll get us kicked in Odyssey and on Rumble and everything else. But should we ever want to do that? Like if we ever had, like, I don't know, let's just say that there was a breaking video of Jennifer Lopez being railed on a couch or something, I might want to show that. And I can because I have CMS TV.
Right.
You know, I can show it there. And no one can really tell us no. No matter what we want to do, we can do on one of these platforms. And that's different than anybody else, I think, out there. I don't think anybody else has that, do they?
Not that I'm aware of anyway.
Yeah, I mean, and that's how I think about things. I think about what could we get in trouble for, and how can I make it so that even if we do, we don't. You know? So
you're not going to shut us down, fucko.
No. Well, they did once.
Yep.
They did once, and that's my fault. I let that happen. You know, I should have been a little more protective of our stuff. And, you know, I should have known that, God forbid, having a thought about flat Earth was a crime. Was a crime punishable by losing 10 years of videos, but I didn't. And thank God I moved all the classic stuff anyway was moved over to Rumble and Odyssey and BitChute and all those other places. So thank God.
Right.
Anyway.
Well, that's a pretty good synopsis or tutorial as to what goes in to make this show happen for
sure.
You know, and I know, you know, people, whether jokingly or seriously, you know, talk about the sponsorship through the locals. Trust me, that money is appreciated, but it goes away extremely quickly just on paying for expenses.
Yeah, I mean, it's gone. I mean,
the only thing that the locals has done for me personally is I don't have to stroke a check every month anymore.
Yeah, for the app, right?
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, that's it. It definitely pays for the app, which is a good thing for us. The app has been nothing but successful. For, you know, I mean, everybody, I mean, we get the complaint here and there that it won't work on this phone or that phone. And, you know, you're going to get that. You're always going to get that from somebody. You know, somebody like Jim that's running an iPhone 2 or whatever. You know, it's like, of course, it doesn't work on your phone.
On a jitterbug, Jim.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
sorry.
My BlackBerry stopped working. What the fuck? You know, it's like, holy shit. Upgrade. But I mean, the app has been very successful for us and has definitely shown a lot of growth for the show. You know, that's a whole nother play. I didn't even think about that when I was throwing numbers. We have 4,500 downloads of the app.
Okay.
That's a pretty good number, man.
Yeah, that is a good number.
You know, so when we go live, I know Corey has told me before that when we go live on KRFK, which is on the app,
yeah,
they get as good a numbers as they do when Trunk is on or when Dee Snider or Joe Elliott or any of those big name guys are on. So, you know, we do our bit, and the app has definitely helped out a lot with that. So, you know, I'm satisfied with the way the show looks and works, and You know, I definitely I'm looking at our screen right now with the whole worldly newsy thing behind it or whatever. And then I see this shitty Kevin Brennan show and it's just, him sitting in a room.
Yeah.
And it's like, that sucks. It just doesn't look good.
Well, he's got his lighting is just way too bright. He's just like in like a spare bedroom or something.
Yeah. I mean, it just looks bad.
Yeah.
It literally, I'm going to pop me to full screen for a minute. It looks like, let me go to here. Here's Kevin Brennan's show, basically. Can I do this? Oh, I can't do it. Fuck. I can't disconnect. Never mind. It's just blank. It's just a blank. Oh, here we go. All right, now we're doing it. It's the green screen show. Or Kevin's just in some room in his house. And it's like
in his house.
Yeah, it's like, hey, here we are. We're doing nothing here. But we try to at least make it look good and and be a good product.
Yeah. Well, all that locals money goes to pay for all that high priced equipment you got there behind you. all those monitors and everything you got happening.
I think it was either Jordan Rudess or John Anderson this week that asked me what I have. Oh no, it was Steve Zing from Danzig. A week or two ago asked me, he's like, hey, what do you got rocking in that studio, man? He's like, what kind of speakers are those?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, those are green screen 101s.
Right, exactly.
He's like, that's a hell of a picture, man.
Yeah, that's badass. Look at all the mixing consoles back there and monitors and all kinds of things.
It was pretty funny that he asked me that. I just was like, wow. Yes, Phil Ooze. Fucking A right, I got John Anderson. What a nice young man that guy was. 80 years young. He was really nice, man.
Yeah. Did you get an ID?
For CMS, no. For CMS TV, yes. I was like, what am I going to do with a CMS ID? When's the last time we played Yes?
I didn't say for the CMS. Just an ID.
Yeah, I can play it. Hold on. Let me see here.
Because I know you put them on the beginning of the videos and shit.
Yeah, there'll be one on either this episode or episode 2 this week.
You see, there's a legendary guy.
Oh yeah,
that's a nice get right there. Having John Anderson on.
Yeah, he could not have been nicer, man. He was so cool, man.
Was he wearing his flowing robes?
No, he wasn't.
No.
Why can't I find that ID? What the fuck? Of course I can't find it.
Right.
Why would I be able to find it when I need it? God damn it. Oh, whatever. I did get one. You can see it on Monday when everything is launched, I guess. Oh, here. We could play one question with him.
All right.
I asked him about how he felt having an asteroid named after him.
It's called John Anderson?
It is Asteroid John Anderson. Tell me about having an asteroid named after you. I've never spoken to anybody that's had that before. How did that happen, and how did you feel when you were told this?
Well, you're the first person to tell me.
Oh, you don't know this?
I didn't know. I did not know. Is the asteroid called John?
It's called John Anderson. It's asteroid like 23886 or something.
Oh, that's
something like that. It's called it's here it is. On May 14th, 2021, asteroid 48886 John Anderson was discovered and named in your honor by a research team in France.
Wow. I'm writing it down. Asteroid.
Yeah, it's on your Wikipedia if you want to look it up. It's one of those I saw it and I was like, wow, that's quite an honor. I guess that means your music impacted universally, right?
Yeah, of course it did.
Right on.
The interesting thing is that years and years ago, I was doing a show with Yes in Florida, and this guy came over and said, John, I want to say thank you for Elias of Sun Hillow, which was my first solo album. And we really appreciate it. When I say we are the people that go to the space station. And I said, what? He says, yes, we're going to send you a plaque. And in my studio up there on the wall is a plaque of the Apollo people that went to space station, and they had my album playing at the same time.
Wow.
Isn't that funny? So now I've got an asteroid. What next? What next? I want to know what next.
Maybe you'll get a planet before it's all said and done, right?
Oh, no.
Anyway, that's John Anderson.
Well, look at him with the old man sweater on.
Yeah, he is. Well, he is 80.
I understand, but it's funny. He's got might as well just put him in a rocking chair. And
Oh, I know. Well, all I know is that was definitely one of those rare times that I was actually nervous.
Yeah, well, of course. I mean, the guy has a 60-year legacy, and a legendary band. Yes.
Yeah. And still sounds great, and still is. I mean, you saw it. That was my first time chatting with him. What a nice guy, man. He was so pleasant. And
well, what's kind of funny is you broke the news to him that he has an asteroid.
Yeah, he didn't know.
Yeah,
it was funny. He's writing it down and stuff. That was hilarious.
Look that up.
It's like, oh, cool.
What an honor.
Yeah, I was thrilled. I couldn't believe. I had been going back and forth about getting an interview with them, and they were, I don't want to say they were being difficult, but they played all the difficult hands that they usually try to do to not do the interview type of thing.
Right.
What are your numbers? What is your social following? What is your
bullshit?
Yeah, it was a lot of the steps, and I gave them all. So then we get approved, but then it goes to, well, you can only talk to John for 20 minutes. Okay. I was like, I'll talk to him for 5 minutes. I don't care. I want that ID more than I want anything.
Absolutely. Right.
That was all I cared about, was that I wanted the ID. And so we worked it out, and then we chatted, and I kept it, I think it was 20 minutes and 41 seconds from start to finish. I really kept it on point, because it's a publicist that I really don't want to piss off.
Right.
And obviously they're working John Anderson. That's not a nobody. So, and I'm thrilled when they give me a chance to do these things, these big. People keep telling me that I should expect it, and, that I've done enough now to where I should get the bigger ones and blah, blah, blah. But man, I am apologetic. I am appreciative every time I get one that's huge.
Of course.
It's because it's hard. It takes a lot of work. And, I'll go back to the Mick Mars the end of last year. They didn't give that to anybody. They gave that to the biggest publications and me. And I was like, wow, when did I become in that mix? Even Wardlaw says that to me, and he interviews everybody. Right. But he said that to me. He's like, because I said that to him one time, and he said, dude, you're one of us. You're in that club now. I've like elevated to that club by doing good interviews and doing lots of interviews and doing lots of favors and, whatever. And it's really fun. My week this week was Jordan Rudess of Dream Theater and John Anderson of Yes. That's a pretty fucking good week if you're into prog metal.
Sure, absolutely.
Or prog rock. That's a good week, So, man, but John Anderson was great. What a great guy. Nice guy. I saw it in the chat. I don't know who said it, but they said they couldn't wait for the new album. His new album is really, really good if you like Yes. It's probably the best thing that he's done since maybe one of those Wakeman,
Bruford
records. Yeah.
Bruford, Wakeman, and Howe.
Yeah. It's the best since one of those. So,
right.
Good stuff. So check that out when it comes out. It's out on Frontiers, but not until maybe September or August or something. It's either late August or September that it comes out. That's the one hardest part for me, is I got to sit on this thing for a month and a half. I want to put it out now, and it's like, I got to wait. Sucks, but whatever. I'll wait.
Well, you know what? Again, a good get.
Yeah.
So yeah, good on you.
Yeah. was a good one.
See, this is what you're paying for, folks.
Yeah.
Or
Well,
at
and I
least
try
so.
to do. I'm going to go back to, since you brought it up. I will bring up the locals thing again. I've been trying to do more stuff on locals. You know, that's outside of anything else. Like today, I did a little quick hitter about Carla Harvey getting kicked out of Butcher Babies or quitting or whatever she did, Butcher Babies, which I know is not everybody. You know, I know it's not really this audience, but people that listen to me will be into that. And I just did a little quick 5-10 minutes today. And yesterday I did a thing on Netflix raising their prices and here's how you get around it and blah, blah, blah. You know, that was in the locals page. It was exclusive for the locals people. So, you know, I'm trying to do more so that, because I don't want, and I know you don't want either. I don't want to be in here shaking the tree for us. I just don't want to do that for this show.
Right.
Eric wants to do that, and that's cool if Eric wants to do that. That's cool. And Seth too. Those guys, they want to turn it into money-making things. And I don't care. That's fine. This show, me and you both have agreed we don't want to do that.
No. I mean, if it happened organically,
Yeah, fine.
you know, we're not gonna complain, but
Right.
we're not gonna go out there and purposely shake the pan and say,
Right.
"Oh, help support the show. Help
No.
support the show."
I feel better personally if I give them something. If I give them extra content, if I give extra time or I build something extra that they can, and the locals people, anybody that signed up knows this. When I make decisions about the show, because, you know, let's face it, you finance the show, I engineer the show. That's kind of
Right.
our dynamic.
Right.
When I make engineering decisions about the show, a lot of times, most times, I take it to the locals and I do it as a sponsored only post. And I ask them, hey, what do you guys think of this? I did it this week. I asked the locals people, do you watch CMS TV? And if so, how, when, you know, tell me how you use it, because they're the ones that are paying the bills. So, you know, I might as well craft it around, at least somewhat around what works for them as well. So it's not just throwaway money, at least on our show. And that being said, if you want to just give us a $5 super chat now, we'll be happy to read your
I'll
post.
put your comment on the screen.
Yeah, I'll put it up right away. I'll put it right up there right now.
Then you'll get the people complain if you put somebody who didn't pay for a super
Yes.
chat. I paid for mine, fucky. What's up with that, man?
Exactly. If you want the super chats, if you really feel the need to throw money at us, go on to watch the Seth Show or watch Chris Akin Presents, because those guys are much more inclined to like the super chat thing. Here, I really don't want to do that here. Hell, I don't even like when you go to the phones. To be honest, you know, the last thing, we've got the phones down to where it doesn't annoy me as much because we don't go to it as much anymore. The last thing I want to do is replace that by super chats that are even lazier than a phone call.
Right.
Here's $2. You guys suck a bag of dicks. And you have to read it because I paid $2.
Yeah. It's like, if we suck a bag of dicks, what are you doing listening?
Yeah, well, there's that too. But
Why are you spending your time listening to something that sucks?
yeah, well, people do. They
That's funny.
definitely do. But
Yep. All right. Well, there you go. That's the long and the short of how the CMS operates. So,
That's right.
For those of you who may be curious, there is a method to the madness here. I mean, you know, there's more to it than just Chris and I sitting in front of our microphone and flipping on the camera on a Saturday. I mean,
Yep.
there's a whole thing going on behind the scenes to make it happen.
you know what? I am not going to lie. I watched that. I don't remember what channel that documentary was on about OnlyFans. I think it might have been Paramount.
Right.
But I watched. No, it was Tubi. Tubi has a special out there about Paramount or about OnlyFans, I believe. And I learned that OnlyFans does not have to be about flash and vag.
True.
We could legitimately put our show on OnlyFans.
Yeah.
I thought about it for a minute.
People have like cooking shows on there, and they do, have gardening shows and all kinds of things like that. But there's so much free content, like on a YouTube or a Rumble or something.
Yeah.
I don't know why somebody would pay OnlyFans to see anything but badge.
Yeah, well, and that's what I think too. But I did explore it a little bit, to at least consider it, because I know they ain't gonna censor. I'm always looking for, will they censor me? As you remember, I built a Pornhub channel, or was it Pornhub? Yeah, I built a Pornhub channel for the CMS at one point, and they finally made me take it down because it didn't have any porn.
Right.
But I had a Pornhub channel for about a year?
Yeah, something like that.
And we actually got a content strike on YouTube because I linked to it. I linked to Pornhub. It was pornhub.com/classic metal show or whatever. And I linked to it in the description, and we got a content strike from YouTube.
You're promoting porn on YouTube.
I was linking to porn, even though it wasn't. But I'll look at anything. If there's a method that makes it easier for people to get the show, I will definitely put it up, or I'll at least investigate it to see if it's if it's viable for us. We get a lot of questions. A lot of people email in and they're like, locals is difficult. Why don't you go to Patreon? Everybody uses Patreon.
But again, that's shaking the pan.
Yeah, well, and Patreon is censored.
Right.
That's the big problem with Patreon. Patreon, you drop an N-bomb or something, you'll be kicked off of Patreon. Same reason we're not on Twitch Live. We could be on Twitch Live, but we'd get shut down immediately. So why do it? Stupid.
I mean, the reason you guys and gals tune into the show is because you get real content. That's what you get. I mean, Chris and I, we don't sit there and choose our words carefully.
No.
Nope. It just comes off the cuff. I mean, half the time when Chris and I are, getting into a subject, and if I listen back, it's like, holy shit, I don't remember saying that.
Dude, I was doing that before the show. You were playing whatever I was ranting about, that David Hogg thing.
Yeah, well, we were ranting about the girl with the Band-Aids on her nipples and stuff, and then it got into the David Hogg thing.
Yeah, and I said something, and I was like, God damn, that's a great line.
You said he's like John Benet Ramsey. He'll be gone soon.
He'll be gone soon or something like John Benet. I was like, damn, that's a funny fucking line. And I don't remember saying that.
Right.
I had no memory of, and what was that? Probably 5-8 years ago.
Oh, it's been longer, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was a long time, but I just was like, I don't remember. There's a lot of times, and I'm being deadly honest here, when I go from this room to the other room in between in the breaks to put together the stuff, and I have to write out the little transcription of it for ChatGPT to write the description of the video. I have to play the video. And I mean, it's 2 minutes after I walked out of here because I don't remember what we talked about.
Because it's freeform.
It is.
Stream of consciousness.
Yeah, man. Adam and Eve.
But whatever you guys hear is just what comes out of our brain instantaneously. Yeah. Whatever I'm thinking, or I don't have to sit there and think about what I'm going to say. It just comes out. Yeah.
And it is always funny to me when I see comments from something we did like a year ago or 2 years ago or whatever, and they'll be like, you guys were fucking stupid. Of course this isn't. And it's like, dude, you've had a whole year's worth of knowledge. I mean, I crack up all the time when the radio thing is playing, the CMS radio.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, the thing about Guns N' Roses comes up. And me and you were adamant. They're never going to get back together.
Right,
no chance. Right. No way Axl and Slash will ever be nice again. It'll never happen. Both of us were like, absolutely can't happen. No chance. No way. No how. Sounds funny now.
Well, it sounds funny now, and we can go hindsight and thing. And if Slash hadn't gone through a divorce, they may never have gotten back together.
Yeah. But at the time, it was funny. At the time, it was real. At the time, it really didn't feel like they were ever going to make nice. And then they did. So, who knows? I mean, it's just fun. It's fun to hear the old stuff, but it's so dumb when, somebody will see that video and they'll comment, "You guys are fucking stupid. They've been back together for 10 years. Like, no shit. Look at the date on the video, you dick.
Yeah, now who's being the dummy?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I say we take a break, get the show kicking off here.
Right.
It was a good first segment as far as I'm concerned.
Hey, we rocked through it.
Yeah, we did, man. But anyway, if you want to get involved with the show as far as the music is concerned, you can hit me up with an email, request@theclassicmetalshow.com. Request@theclassicmetalshow.com if you'd like to get a request in. And if I don't run out of time, I'll try to get your request in. I usually get in about 95% of the requests. If you don't hear your request, it's not because I don't want to play it. It's just I ran out of time.
Right.
And I get a lot of requests on a Saturday. So the sooner you get it in, the more chance you're going to hear it. When I get late requests in the last hour of the show, probably not going to hear it.
Yeah, probably not.
I got requests stacked up, and I try to go with the people who got in sooner and work my way to the end. So that's how it worked on this end. So anyway, I'll let you pick a tune since I usually do.
All right, then I am going to go heavy. I would like to hear some Sepultura. I would like to hear Cyber God from the Machine Messiah album.
All right.
Great album, by the way.
And what's the name of the tune again?
Cyber God.
Cyber God.
You don't have that?
Nope, I got it.
Okay.
All right. Well, we're going to play a few tunes so Chris can go process the show for you ungrateful fucks.
Right?
Because, man, I'm not getting my bang for the buck.
Yeah, man. I need more.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm going to play a few tunes. We'll come back, talk some more. That's why you all tune in. So here it is. It's Sepultura or Sepultura.
Sepultura
with Cyber God exclusively here
on your classic metal show.
The true hub for Chris Akin Presents is their website, www.chrisakin.net. You can watch all live episodes of the show live, participate in the chat as well. You can get past shows in both audio and video on demand formats. Join Eric Ferentinos' VIP Facebook group right from our page. Bookmark it today. www.chrisakin.net. That's ChrisAkin.net.